Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Bold American Podcast presented by Barstool Sports. A lot going on today. We got some updates on all things Iran. That is still very much a thing, in case you forgot. Military OPSEC has come under scrutiny in an interesting way. There is a veteran that got found out for defrauding the VA to the tune of $1 million. Chuck Norris, veteran, passed away, unfortunately, last week. So we want to honor him properly. And then final thing that we want to discuss on today's show is President Trump dropped a line in one of his press conferences that made me stop in my tracks. And that's saying a lot for President Trump. So we'll get into that. And all of that is going to be brought to you by our pals at BlueChew. Fellas, you already know what time it is. It's time to level up. And BlueChew just dropped something crazy. I'm talking next level, championship belt, gold-plated energy. BlueChew Gold is the newest innovation from the #1 chewable ED brand. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill. This is the 4-in-1 beast that's setting the gold standard for performance. We're talking 2 ingredients for blood flow to keep that rocket pumping, mixed with apomorphine and oxytocin to turn up the arousal and connection in your brain and body. BlueChew Gold dissolves under your tongue and works in as little as 15 minutes. That means you can get it on quicker and stay in the game longer. Elevation without hesitation. This is peak passion and peak performance in a single tablet. If your bed could talk after this, it'd be asking for a break. So make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Get 10% off your first month of BlueChew Gold with code BOLD. That's promo code BOLD. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank BlueChew for sponsoring the podcast. All right. Last 72. Ryan, let's start with you.
Gosh, I'm even trying to think of my last 72. I didn't really do too much. I kind of had for once, just kind of had a chill weekend. At home, went out with my girlfriends a little bit over the weekend, locally in Doylestown, and yeah, nothing crazy.
Let me ask you, just as I've just started exploring in a more meaningful content way that the suburban life, your little crew there in the suburbs, are those parents of your kids that you met at school? Are they longtime friends that are just from Doylestown? Or how did you get your friend group that you currently spend time with?
My friend group are my best friends from high school.
Wow, okay.
And yeah, it's 3 or 4. Well, there's 4 of us, and we all went to high school together. And yeah, and we've stayed tight ever since. I mean, I have other people that I go out with, but they're my core group of that, they're my ride or dies, I guess you could.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who follows you on social and is privy to your social media, you see those same familiar faces. I see these women. I'm like, oh yeah, I reckon. I don't know them, never met them, I don't think, but it's usually the same crew of women. So I was just curious.
Yeah, they come to everything. I ran the marathon with one of them. They come to TMF events with me, and yeah, I think there's something kind of nice about being with people that have known you since you were 16 years old, and they've seen every different version of you, and they've walked through all your different life experiences together, and so there's something comforting in that, and that was just totally impromptu. It was Thursday, hey, can we get together Saturday? And ended up, went out, got some Indian food, and hit some local bars.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating to me in this country just how people form their friend groups, because I think what you have, I think, is pretty rare. I think there's probably a lot of people that at least stay in touch with people that they went to high school or grammar school with, but don't necessarily see them as regularly as that. So it's a nice thing to have that core group that sticks together. Just because I don't think anyone does it on purpose. Just life gets in the way, and people move or people lose touch, or geez, in my case, one of my buddies from high school passed away. Things happen. Yeah. So You're really
Never
lucky.
like got into like I never formed like insanely tight friendships. I mean, I guess that's not true. But like I see a lot of people that like their friendships as adults are all based around their kids. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just like their kids' parents are there, that becomes like their friend group.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I did that a little, but it wasn't like I formed like these like best friends out of my kids' friends' parents. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'll give you credit. Your girls won another lacrosse game.
They did. Yeah, they're still fourth in the nation. They play Lehigh on Wednesday. I mean, I gotta say, they're so good. It's so fun to watch them play. It's just like awesome. And like what I love best about it, I will say this is, and listen, the Army Navy game it's gonna be their hardest game all season. It's gonna be such a great game. But it's very cool to see this group of girls. So I think I was saying it before, like so connected and like, I don't know. They're all just each other's biggest fans. And it's awesome. Like I remember that. And I remember that feeling, when I played Division III lacrosse, but we made it to the Final Four for the NCAAs. And like, it's freaking exciting. Like it's so exciting. And like, you never forget that feeling of being a part of that team, and I love that Maggie and, all her teammates get to experience that. So yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. It's interesting to me that I've noticed in women's sports, and I mean, as we're recording earlier today, UConn was playing in a game and they went on a 31-0 for women's basketball, 31-0 run and just destroying their opponent. And UConn's number 1 ranked and their opponent's number 8. It seems to me, and if this generalization is wrong, please tell me and please come from my neck as necessary. The gap is wider between the good teams and the not so good teams. So it seems like if you're a good team, you're probably just going to win almost automatically. Not completely automatically, but there has to be some certain circumstances, or you run into an equally good team before you get tripped up. Is that fair to say?
So, yeah. And I think again, I may be generalizing a little bit, but even in like, I think there's also like differentials in like Division I, II. Like I played Division III, but we would go down and we'd play Division I teams and beat them handedly. Now it wasn't Navy, it was probably teams, but they were Division I, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Division III has really good lacrosse, I should say. But yeah, there is kind of big differential, and in the Patriot League too. In the Patriot League, especially, there's not in women's lacrosse. There's not a ton of real.
Parity?
It's like Army, Navy, and Loyola. Like that's that. It's always those 3 that are the juggernauts for every other team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, well, we'll keep an eye on that, and happy to see that the Army Navy game is shaping up to be monumental. It would be monumental regardless, but it's always good when it pits 2 very good teams. They're ranked high in the country, so that'll be very cool. Rob, how about you, buddy?
What's up, guys? Army's gonna kick Navy's ass next month. I watched maybe the best movie I've ever seen in theaters over the weekend.
Which was?
Which one?
Project Hail Mary.
Oh, with
I've
Ryan
been
Gosling.
hearing about this.
I don't even know what
So
it's
many
about.
people.
No bullshit. Fantastic. Feel good. Happy, sad tears. Amazing acting.
What's it about?
Ryan Gosling is a scientist. Okay, without revealing too much, he's a scientist. He has to save Earth, essentially. He meets an alien, and they become best friends, and they work together. And it's like, it sounds super kitschy, tacky, cheesy. Dude, like, everyone left the theater like, no one said a word. It was just like smiles. It was like the quintessential movie theater experience you want to have is Project Hail Mary. It might be, man, what was the last good movie you guys have seen in theaters in the last like 15, 20 years.
Oh,
like
in
where
a
you leave and
theater?
you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I don't go to the movie theater, so I can't. But let me go back to Project Hail Mary. Literally before we logged on, I'm just scrolling Instagram, and my girlfriend wrote, "Too many movies fail to stay true to a book in adaptation. Project Hail Mary nails it. Instant classic. Perfect blend of sci-fi, adventure, comedy, and drama. Absolutely nailed the ending too."
It's incredible. And my lady and I had no idea what we were walking into. I just saw Gosling. I'm a Gosling simp. I love that guy. I've grown up with him, watching him. And like Drive is one of my favorite movies. The New Guys. He was great in Blade Runner. Like he can't do wrong in my book. And so I went in the theater. I knew that it was going to do well. And then, guys, it's so fucking good. And I don't want to spoil too much, but if you can, try to watch that in theater. And you will not regret it.
I was just looking it up because I couldn't think of it, but probably the best movie I've watched recently, and I'd have to go back far now, but it was 2014, and I saw it definitely twice, maybe 3 times in the theater, which is also not common for me.
Crazy.
But it was American Sniper. I remember I saw that for the first time by myself because I used to go to the movies all the time by myself, and then I went and I saw it again with my parents. That was a movie where both times left the theater visibly moved.
Yeah,
due in large part to the end credits. Obviously, the story is very powerful, but those end credits really just crush it.
I had to watch American Sniper when I was deployed in East Africa, and I watched it on a little laptop screen. And dude, you know what? It was a great film. But you know what really stuck out to me in that fucking movie? It was the fake baby scene.
Oh, so here's the thing. I actually was listening to an interview with Cooper the other day, and it was something where, actually, no, the baby that they had a real baby, and for whatever reason, they tried, and the baby was not cooperating. So Clint Eastwood, the director, was like, forget it, just use the doll. We got to get this scene
That's
shot.
Funny.
Let's just use a doll. So Cooper even knows. He said, it's like, no. I mean, that's the one thing that everybody says to me. But we thought it was okay, or at least Eastwood thought it was fine, and never expected the blowback that they received. But yes, that was the reason.
The last movie that I saw that really that I was like, I gotta go, because I'm, as you guys know, I'm not a big movie person, right? So something really has to speak to me for me to go see it in a movie, unless I was like taking my kids. I went by myself and saw A Star Is Born.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's
very
like,
good.
I was like ugly crying because I didn't even know what it was about, but I was just like intrigued by, Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga, the music. And I was like, it was bad.
And that gave me a whole new.
Right? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that gave me a whole new appreciation for Lady Gaga's talent.
So good.
And Bradley Cooper can fucking sing too. That was him on the mic.
Taught himself. Yeah. He taught himself to do that, to play guitar, to do all of that.
That's
which, listen, don't get me wrong, that's impressive. But if Rob, if I told you like, hey dude, go into a hole for 6 months and learn the guitar, you probably could learn the guitar.
But to film on a Hollywood movie?
But
maybe?
Rob, if all you did every day for the next 6 months and you didn't have to worry about, you were getting paid and all you had to do was learn the guitar.
Just lock in.
I think you could learn the guitar. Again, it's still impressive that he did that he trained his voice to sound as good as it did. But taking into consideration that
it's acting.
Yeah.
But I admire Bradley Cooper for American Sniper. My man put on some size for that movie.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember how big he got? And if you see him now, he's a slender dude.
I mean, and the one scene in the movie where he's doing deadlifts with a 315, I think.
Yeah.
They said, "All right, here are the fake weights." He's like, "No. Give me the real weights. I want to use the real thing."
Right?
With the trap bar. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I remember those deployment gains, bro. Oh, oh man.
I'm not gonna say his name, but I had, and I won't even say his role. I will say there was someone in the upper echelon of leadership during my deployment who, it wasn't explicitly said, but it was kind of like an open secret that this dude cycled when he was deployed, just because he knew we didn't get piss tested when deployed, and he was such a meathead that his whole goal on deployments, aside from the mission at hand, was just to see how big and strong he could get.
Yeah, I had
and he would cycle
guys like that.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, Project
Anyway.
Hail Mary, guys, you're gonna.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, is that a movie like you could bring like an 11-year-old to?
Yes. So
Okay.
it is. It's structured. Sound like a fucking teacher. It's structured. It's shot in a way where the themes are, life, death, all that, but there's no swearing. It's very well acted and scripted so that a 9, 10, 11-year-old can figure out and
Yeah.
kind of plays to that. It's a family film, PG-13.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Gosling
you-
is amazing. Like his
No, he is.
Barbie.
Right.
What else? Like he's done so much.
I mean, you could run down, and then I saw him doing an interview, and he was talking about how he's very well aware of the meme about how he's a liability at corner.
Oh yeah.
He still thinks about that. I thought that was pretty
Remember
funny
the
and very
time? Yeah,
self-deprecating that he's aware of that internet meme. But
Yeah,
Ryan,
he's
curious, because my children aren't 11 yet. How do you decipher? I mean, is it like hard and fast, like he's 11, so you can't watch rated R movies?
No,
And then
he's-
everything else, like it's a movie by movie? Because I can remember definitely seeing rated R movies, but not, my parents didn't know about it because I like went to a sleepover or something. I can remember being in 4th grade and they put Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock on at the birthday
Yeah.
sleepover. And so that's rated R, but it's rated R for the action and a little bit of the language.
Yeah, I mean, I'm less concerned. Like, I don't care too much about like cursing or like I don't care if my kids hear cursing, like they're gonna hear cursing. I'm more like I don't want like sexually explicit stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Travis has watched he's watched Band of Brothers, like. His dad
That's
was
cool.
like, time to watch Band of Brothers. Like
Yeah.
That's cool.
like I don't care about that kind of stuff. It's more like the sexually explicit stuff. I don't.
No,
wanna
it's
see
not
that.
in this. And then
So that's kind of like my only thing that I. Look
That's a
for.
good rule of thumb, though. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah. Gosling is in. I think he's going to be in the new Star Wars trilogy too. He's the main
Oh.
in the upcoming like new Star Wars saga, whatever you call it. He's going to be like that dude. So
I've only ever seen the first Star Wars one time. That's it. Never seen any of the other Star Wars. One
Whoa,
series does not interest me at all. I'm well aware of its place in the pantheon
I've
of
seen
movies.
it.
I've never seen it.
I mean, I get it. The latest films have fucking sucked. I thought it was overacted. It was just not good. But yeah, I guess it's fair. So you saw the one from 78, 79, like
The original
earlier-
Star Wars. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
honestly, I don't really even remember it fully. I mean,
That's
I get all
fair.
the cultural references to an extent, but
Yeah.
beyond that, I just never had a desire to go back
So
and watch
what
those.
about old James Bond movies? Did you ever get into
No,
those?
James Bond
Really?
either.
Aw.
No. I mean, the most James Bond I ever did was playing GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Growing up.
Okay.
But no, James Bond never interested me either. There's a lot of good old movies that I still haven't seen. I'm talking like,
Yeah.
the Robert Redfords and the
The Clint's.
and then Clint Eastwood and Paul Newman. A lot of those that I know are good and I've heard them referenced millions of times and I just still haven't seen them.
So Ryan, you're kind of Gosling's age. Did you grow up watching Disney? The Disney.
That's messed up, Rob. That's messed
What?
up.
It's a what?
Why you age shaming?
Yeah. What the fuck?
It's a compliment. He looks great.
How old is he?
I don't know, like 45.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a compliment. So what?
Okay. Did I grow up watching him on the Disney Channel? No,
Yeah.
I did not. No. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah,
Like
that's where I'm gonna go.
That was
so I'll
the
interrupt
big
you.
burning question you wanted to know.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did not watch him on the Disney Channel. I didn't even know he was on the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
so.
I think him and Timberlake, right?
That's where he got his start, yeah. Him, Spears, Christina Aguilera, that whole crew. That's where they all got their start.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I went to it was interesting. I went to a really good buddy, a West Point classmate, really close friend of mine. I went to his house on Saturday, and so often now with kids, if you go somewhere, you hang out for a little bit, but then you gotta pack up and get home. Well, he lives by the crow flies. He doesn't live distance very far from me, but it's about 45 to an hour in the car, depending on traffic, possibly longer. So we went and actually spent the night, which was really, really nice because then we didn't have to cut the night off at, 5 o'clock. We got there at 3 and, the kids hung out. His kids are older than my kids, and obviously Mac just laid there. But his daughter was so sweet and kind of just took Maggie, and played with her. And it was just really nice that could spend that time as adults too, once the kids all went to bed. But I will say my daughter stinks at sleeping anywhere that is not home.
So you got to work on that. You got to do it more. Because I'll tell you, like, one of the things I loved doing that. Like with my friends, it was always like I have friends that like live down the street, and we'd still be like, bring the kids and just sleep over. So then we could like hang out, drink,
right,
and just have a good time. But like, you got to train her.
I think it's just her age right now, because when she was a little younger, like, the amount of nights we've spent down the shore at my parents' house, and she was fine, but that could have just been because she was younger. And now she's in a stage where bedtime can some nights be a challenge, and some nights she goes down very easily, but it was just not ideal, we'll say. But it was nevertheless, it was still a nice time, and happy that we got to be able to spend time as adults and enjoy the company of other adults for an extended period of time. Didn't have to cut it off. So that was the extent of my weekend.
That's chill.
Yeah, not much going on. Although the calendar will pick up as the weather improves. The calendar, I'm looking at it right now. There's a lot going on, so I will be more busy going forward. But the other folks that are busy is everybody going and in Iran right now. So the major updates with Iran is the conflict has shifted to industrial targets. So this past week, two of the most significant moments of the conflict were centered on two important pieces of industrial infrastructure: the South Pars gas field and the Strait of Hormuz. I actually looked up the pronunciation. It is Hormuz. Yes. So Iran attacked the South Pars gas field reportedly without informing the Americans. Yes. And then Iran retaliated by striking energy infrastructure in Qatar. Trump distanced the U.S. from the initial attack on the South Pars by threatened that further Iranian attacks on Qatar's infrastructure would lead to a U.S. attack demolishing the South Pars gas field. Iran then threatened any U.S. attacks on the South Pars would lead to a full closure of the Strait of Hormuz. So moving to the Strait of Hormuz, for those who don't know, that has 20% of the global oil shipments that pass through that strait. Iran has conducted more than 20 attacks on merchant ships in or near the strait, with 12 ships reporting damage. Tanker traffic is currently down by more than 70% and halted completely for a period of time. And it has driven gas prices now up by about $1 a gallon in the last 2 months. I'm sure we've all seen that when going to fill up our cars. The national average right now is $3.85. And then as of this morning, President Trump put out a tweet about how, hey, Iran's getting ready to come to the table and we want to end this thing, and we want to do it without any more violence or attacks. So we got to get them to come to the table. About an hour later, representatives from Iran said, yeah, no. We never said any of that. We didn't agree to that. And people are saying President Trump tweeted what he did just to try to get momentum going in our direction and hopefully lower gas prices, or at least start to. So I thought it was interesting that, even President Trump is not above just trying to manipulate social media to try to drive how the global economy reacts. So just what are you guys thinking about his tweets and everything going on in Iran right now?
Well, my only question was, I could not find, obviously I saw Trump's tweet, but all the tweets about Iran saying we didn't have those talks, I couldn't find anything verified. Did you guys find anything that
No.
would, like, yeah,
No.
See, that was my thing. Like, the tweet about the talks came from Trump, but everything coming out about Iran saying we didn't have those conversations, there was nothing verified from like.
It came, Ryan. It came from their state media propaganda in the country, and I don't know if they tweeted that, but the statements made it to some other channels. So
okay, so it was legit. That was my only thing. I'm like, is this actually legitimate? I just wasn't sure.
It's their propaganda media outlet, like their fucking CNN, saying that no, we haven't had talks, but like
that's fair.
They're doing back channel talks in Switzerland or through Qatar or whatever. So I'm pretty sure those are happening. To the extent I'm not sure, but like, yeah, I mean, Trump's he understands, like, he's a pragmatic dude in the sense that, look how we kind of pivoted from ICE and some of those maneuvers and Kristi Noem, right? Like he gets the sentiment. If something's not going right, he'll switch up. Maybe not immediately, but I think he will. And so he's, to your point, Connor, he's trying to calm some of the speculation about gas.
Yeah, but unfortunately, if then Iran comes back right away and says, yeah, that's completely false, and
it doesn't really do anything.
President Trump necessarily doesn't always have the best track record, then it's very easy to believe.
Economy is really going to shift on what a propaganda arm from Tehran says.
I mean, no more than they're going to shift from one tweet from President Trump.
I think his tweet has a little more power over.
Yeah, no, it definitely carries more gravitas and evident by past actions and past tweets. Because I mean, so much of these markets are just, for lack of a better word, for their feel and like where do we think things are going to be happening. Whether it's the energy markets, the stock market.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You're just trying to read tea leaves essentially and figure out where things are going to go next. And people claim to be experts, but they're not. But I guess he's doing his best to quell everything that's going on there. But
listen, I hope they're having freaking peace talks. I hope everything he wrote in that tweet is 1,000% true.
So according to CNN, the price of an oil barrel went down 8% after his tweet. So that's
it works.
Nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is something to be said. And then also the Iranian media arm, I mean, like, or this company, whatever. I mean, they're on like their 30th person now running the show. There's like
there's definitely no cohesion going on there in that country. It's I don't see how they can sustain any sort of resistance much longer.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm way off base there, but if we just continue to decimate them, how is it they're going to be able to mount any sort of counter to what we're trying to do?
The issue lies with their grasp on Kharg Island still, the Strait, and any proprietary drone initiatives that they could still launch to Qatar, Oman, UAE, Saudi. And Iran is still... We've been whacking a lot of their military installations, their capabilities, but it's a fucking big country. Like, there's still sites, and IRGC folks still active, so which is a bummer. But what are we in now? Like week 4, 3,
I think.
Yeah. So
I'm
curious to see how the next. I think by the time we record next week, this time Monday evening,
might be very different.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on from Iran, but sticking with military right now. Have you guys heard of the app Strava? Is that an app that you guys know or use?
I've used it for like 10 years.
Okay,
and tell me about it. It's gotten a lot bigger. There's like, you see all the people doing their like Strava reels. You see it, Rob.
Oh,
right?
Strava reels. That's a thing.
Well, yeah, like you run and then like they jump up in the air and they show like their run. And it's like their Strava run is like imprinted. I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah. I know what Strava is. Yes.
It's a good, but is it a good app?
Yeah, it's a huge community. Huge.
Oh,
huge.
Hunter,
okay.
It's exactly what you want to track your running and get and understand your times. I first downloaded it. I'm trying to find it, guys. I downloaded this app when I was on my second deployment in Kuwait, when I was at Camp Buring. But I was very cognizant of the fact that I was running next to Iraq and Iran, but I would just never publish the runs. You know what I'm saying? So I would still track it, but I wouldn't publish it.
I think they can still track you even if you don't.
Yeah, I would think.
I think so.
I would think.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
clearly. No, I've never even heard of this app. There's a different app with a brand name of whom I'm not going to mention that I use, but I had never heard of it. But apparently there was a French officer who was aboard an aircraft carrier headed to the Middle East, and he revealed the vessel's location by logging his daily runs on Strava.
Yeah.
Crazy.
This is just so funny, though, because this is something you'd expect from a lower enlisted folks in the United States military, and you realize, like, people are idiots all over the place and they don't think. Mm-hmm. But so the French papers reported that the exact location of the Charles de Gaulle, roughly 100 kilos south of Turkey and west of Cyprus, via the French sailor's smartwatch. A Russian submarine captain who posted his runs to a public Strava profile was assassinated at the end of his run route on his regularly scheduled run. That is crazy. That. You know, it's so funny. The context doesn't really matter. But my dad would always joke how, like, yeah, you can never do too much consistently because you got to be able to avoid the mob if they're ever looking to, take a hit out on you. You don't want to be too predictable.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was joking, but actually kind of true.
So interesting thing about that, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was like in the last month, it actually might have been, I don't know if it was in the Situation Room, and I think it's Susie Wiles, the chief of staff for Trump. She was wearing a Whoop, and people noticed it on her arm, and they were like, "Why is she?"
Oh, and it was going nuts.
Yeah, and I will tell you that I have been to meetings at the Pentagon where they've made me take off my Garmin.
Yeah.
And leave it outside before I go into the meeting. So, of course, they always take your phone. But the last time I was there, they were like, you got to take your watch off. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so. I'd have to take my Oura ring off. You got to go old school. You got to go analog for sure.
But it's just so funny how many things now track our locations.
Yeah.
And we don't even think twice about it. Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah, you don't even realize how much is going up in that cloud. And, for the vast majority of people on this planet, that doesn't matter. But you need to know if you're in a position, like basically everybody in the military, if you're deployed, you need to know that is OPSEC. And I think OPSEC is one of those things that you have to constantly refresh people on because there's constantly new things that are coming out. And bad guys are finding new ways to find out where their targets are, evident by folks tracking Strava. Not to say that, there were enemies tracking Strava, but now at least they know they could. Yeah. It's just, maybe it's like you said, it's scary.
Maybe this is an indictment on the cringe running culture right now too. It's like, I don't know. Maybe we're over-indexing on the whole, like, I need to run and track my fucking miles. Like, I don't know. I think it's a little excessive.
I would say, and
disagree.
I think this is exasperated by the whole Peloton crowd too. I am in favor of tracking your workouts. I'm less in favor of sharing your workouts outside of like maybe a small group of friends or workout class.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't need to know when someone runs 3 miles.
Yeah. Ryan?
Well, I don't share my runs that I go on. Like, listen,
you have.
Share, what?
You have.
I share it like, okay, here's what I will say. Any workout that I'm sharing, I'm not some fitness influencer. Like right now, you're going to see a lot of me doing squats. What am I doing? I'm trying to promote the Manion WOD and get thousands more people signed up. I wasn't posting like I ran 10 miles today at a 9:25 pace. I'm running and training for the Marine Corps Marathon and encouraging people to join our team. So there's a different context to why I'm sharing my workouts. I'm not sharing it to like, actually, I take that back.
No.
I actually take that back because I had some really, really fast splits when I was training for the marathon, and I did flex them a few times. Okay,
I did see that, and I
take it back. I take it back because I do remember there was a few where I was so freaking proud. I'm like, I've never run this fast. So, all right, I take it back.
I don't know. I just think as a society as a whole, we share too much now.
Yes,
we are sharing too much. I'm not exaggerating.
Yes.
Today, I saw a parent shared a screenshot of their kid's report card. Like, dude, I'm supposed to care
that's
what
weird.
Grades your kid is getting in school.
Well, was it like a flex? Did they have really good report cards?
Straight A's, yes.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
That's where we are.
We're oversharing everything.
Yes,
from like everything. It's just too much.
It's become now where, oh wait, should I put this on social media? You do anything, and you think, wait, should I be sharing this? And let me say the answer should by default be no. And I say that as somebody in content and social media who shares a lot of stuff. But I just think people need to think, who of my followers I'm about to share? And it's just a good rule of thumb maybe to have, because I do not need to see somebody's kid's report card.
Connor, Ryan,
I don't get that one.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
What?
Man, some people listening to this are gonna fuck me up, but I've muted so many people on IG stories that have children that I've known for a long time.
Yeah, you've said that
family
before.
Like it's just too, like I don't want to.
Well, I think we've talked about the other one here where parents post 9 stories in a row from their kid's 11-year-old soccer game
or hospital trips, or because like Johnny broke his leg. I'm just like, it's just like, I know what you used to do 8 years ago, like in Austin. I don't know. It's just like weird to me, man. It's just too personal.
Yeah. I don't know. It just
post a lot. I mean, I post a lot, but I don't, and I probably overshare, but I don't overshare too much with.
But it's not cringy.
No, but Ryan, you don't ever share to where I'm like, maybe the workouts sometimes, but most of the time when you share stuff, I don't think like, ugh, do I need to start muting her?
Did you
you're not there yet?
And that's the thing. Same with Connor. Like, if
thank you. I appreciate you being embarrassing on your story. You're not afraid of that. I love that. What were you saying, Rob?
No, I just think like there's people you follow, there's friends like where like hopefully my stories too, like on Drunk Old Grad, like it's either like fun, it's stupid, it's like I don't know, it's something to get a rise, it's like there's meaning behind it. It's not like 10 stories of the same fucking, I don't know. It's just like Ron,
I don't know how many weekends in a row I can see your kid playing lacrosse at 10 years old and pretend to care.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And listen, I wouldn't expect people to care about, hopefully one day my daughter's playing lacrosse or soccer. I would not expect anyone other than me and my wife and, maybe my sisters and mom to really genuinely care about seeing that stuff or hearing about it. So I don't know if that's overly cynical by me or what, but that's how I feel. Don't share your location on a deployed ship either.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a flex. In one hand, I get it, but on the other, I'm like, what the fuck? OPSEC. Was the run even like a fast run? Is it something Ryan would post about? You know what I mean? Like, is it even a good split? Like, was it?
No, I think it was just a standard. Because how fast can you really get going on an aircraft carrier?
I don't know. I've never been on one that's moving.
Yeah,
that's why I was never in the military, because like
you would have blown so much cover.
Actually, you know what I need?
What?
I need to have a submariner tell me how realistic it was in the movie Crimson Tide that Denzel Washington was running below deck on that sub, seemingly at a pretty good clip. And is that feasible aboard a submarine to be running like that? I've never been on a submarine, so I don't know. I know they're really big these days, but are they that big that you can get a run in? And is that what people do? Or do they have, I'm sure they have treadmills in a gym, but do people run around the decks of a submarine? I need to know. So
I can find that out for you.
Please, I'm curious.
That's actually really good.
I love that movie, but I just always found that to be a little hard to believe. Oh, all right. Moving on. Something else that was hard to believe is that there was a veteran that's sent to prison for defrauding the VA for over $1 million. Kelly Lee Carroll served in the Army for 3 months in 1986, then in the Army Reserves from 86 to 94, which spanned an 8-year career. She made false VA claims that said she was partially paralyzed, in a wheelchair, and in need of constant care. She recruited her sister and her son in on the fraud, and they both received federal convictions, and both were ordered to pay over $275,000 in restitution. Her son was also sentenced to 14 months in jail. Lee Carroll was sentenced to 17 months in prison and ordered to pay $932. Excuse me, Jesus. Wow. $932,000 in restitution. I apologize for that little snafu there, but yes, that's a lot of money. And then, this kind of goes hand in hand. There's like a really big discourse online right now that so many veterans are defrauding VA in terms of their disabilities. And
this is an egregious case. I don't.
Yes.
This is not happening.
Here's what I don't get. How do you convince VA that you're partially paralyzed?
I got a story for you.
All right.
So many years ago, I'm talking, like 15 years ago, we used to bring wounded veterans to South Jersey to participate in a surf competition, and we do like a wounded warrior heat. Okay. And there was a Marine Corps veteran that came every year, like got real involved. I'm going to be super vulnerable, got real involved with TMF, was in a wheelchair, said he'd been paralyzed, I think in like a parachute accident. And it was just like a year and a half ago. And he kind of like faded out and he lived in San Diego. And I got an email from another guy that used to work for me. And he was like with this whole article that he wasn't even paralyzed, and they had video of him, basically same story. And it showed video of him in his apartment. So I guess it was his girlfriend at the time. They broke up and she like put a video camera. Yeah. And like, it's video, and he like rolls into his house in the wheelchair, and then he gets up and starts yelling at his dog. And he's like screaming at his dog.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And he like totally and this guy lived off, and like, I have pictures of him with my kids sitting on his lap in his fucking wheelchair.
And then he went on a run and posted it on Strava.
Yeah. So the point is like there are sick individuals out there.
Yes. And the problem is now people catch wind of these stories and they want to paint all veterans with that same brush and say we're all just taking money from the government, taking handouts, and it's all a bunch of baloney, and none of us have any sort of disability.
It's just such an exhausting debate, though, too, isn't it? Like this whole.
Yeah, I think so.
But here's the good news story: this woman got found out; she's in jail.
Right.
Yeah. Like that's. So.
And this is a different level of fraud, like you're talking about, Ryan. This person's clearly sick. The fact that you're willing to fake being paralyzed, or in your case, a guy was willing to fake being in a wheelchair, that level of commitment is
should have been an actor.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, it's like the difference between like premeditated murder and accidentally walking out of the supermarket with something in your pocket because you forgot you put it there. Like, I think that's the difference here. It's premeditated. I am out there to defraud people. I know I'm not paralyzed. I know I don't need to be in a wheelchair. So yeah, that's obviously fraud, but then something is wrong mentally with
and I think more for the situation that I knew about, I think it was less about the financial, because I don't even know. I mean, he had to be taking money from the VA, but I think he freaking loved the attention
Love the
he
attention.
got
Yeah.
as a paralyzed Marine veteran. I think he like thrived off of that,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
shows like you're mentally ill.
Yeah. I mean, that's very believable though, because I think a lot of people, they get a little bit of bit of attention, and then they realize, wow, that's kind of like an intoxicating drug, and they want more and more, and it becomes this insatiable thing. So, but ultimately, I just hate that it then trickles down and impacts the rest of us in the community that are doing it by the book and have legitimate disabilities. And I don't actually know his name off the top of my head, but there's this dude now. He has a show where the videos have been circulating where he's interviewing veterans, and he's basically calling it out as fraud and saying
the government
is, yeah.
I've seen it.
It's brutal.
So he has nothing to do. Basically, he helps people like figure out their finances. I've seen these reels, and he's like, I have yet to have a veteran on it that isn't taking money from the VA. I just saw a clip with him, and it was actually kind of wild. It was a woman who didn't even make it out of boot camp.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she has a disability rating because she said she hurt her knee during boot camp. And then, so it is kind of wild because he's like, what is it? I don't know one veteran that's not getting VA benefits,
Well, if you want to make a generalization and paint this broad brush, if you're a veteran now, there's a really good chance you deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan or somewhere during GWAT. So the likelihood that you have a disability is higher than if you served in the 80s or 90s where, we weren't as busy.
People are younger. You can tell they're younger, they're definitely post 9/11 veterans. So fair. And he has no context other than, when he puts a veteran in front of him. So,
and then the other problem with this too is then it probably deters some veterans from filing a claim because they're like, oh, I don't want to be made to feel like I'm taking something that I didn't earn or that I'm trying to defraud anybody. And people with legitimate disabilities probably aren't putting claims in because they think it's wrong for some reason. So it's just horrible on a lot of different.
And the process to really like validate the claims is intense. Like it's you have to see a lot of specialists to get the rating.
Exactly. That's the other thing. Like, it's not like you just like go to a website, check a few boxes, and you get a disability rating. It's a thorough process, and it can be even more thorough based on what you claim. So the idea that veterans are jumping through hoops just to make ridiculous claims, I just think that's incredibly far-fetched.
Yeah.
So, anywho, some sad news. We lost an American icon last week. Chuck Norris passed away. I think
icon.
A lot of people now probably knew Chuck Norris from the jokes, the memes, and the early internet days of Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris doesn't flush the toilet; he scares the shit out of it. When Chuck Norris was born, he drove his mom home from the hospital. I always like this one. When the boogeyman goes to sleep at night, he checks his closet for Chuck Norris.
That's good.
Chuck Norris counted to infinity twice. There's so many of these, and it was just they didn't all come out at once. It was just like a slow trickle of these Chuck Norris sayings, and I don't even know how he became the subject of these memes. It was just something that kind of appeared one day out of nowhere. However, before he was a meme, Chuck Norris lived a very, very impactful and full life. He was in the Air Force as an MP. He was a black belt in multiple disciplines, including Taekwondo and karate. He founded his own martial arts style, Chun Kuk Do. He was a 6-time world professional middleweight karate champion. He did 203 episodes over 8 seasons of Walker, Texas Ranger from
That was
93
one
to
of the first
2001.
shows I watched with my father too when I was a kid. Like my dad.
I can remember watching that with my dad. Yeah.
Yeah, like what a great show to like kind of bond with your dad.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's also kind of funny when you realize later in Talladega Nights when Ricky Bobby's kids are named Walker and Texas Ranger. A very good use of that. He was in Way of the Dragon with Bruce Lee. He wrote a ton of books, fitness guides, autobiography, and obviously pop culture icon with all the, Chuck Norris jokes. And then also in the movie Dodgeball where he's the judge at the end. And, thank you, Chuck Norris.
Oh, yeah.
Just
That's right. That's good.
One of those people that you thought maybe might live forever. And one of the, I think, last great examples of how in this country you can kind of just become famous and then live off that fame, right? Like obviously he was very, very accomplished. He was a good actor, but then he just kind of maybe lived off of that for the remainder of his life. And even at 86, he seemed pretty fit and young. So I was actually kind of surprised when I saw that he passed away.
Yeah, and they said it was like something quick because I saw like the day before he died, it was like he's been rushed to the hospital with a medical emergency, and then he died the next day. Which honestly, I think it's kind of good. I don't know. I think it was kind of good he went out like that, as opposed to like Chuck Norris has Alzheimer's or something,
right?
Or some long battle with something. So it seemed kind of fitting.
Yeah. He went quick. And I'm sure there's a Chuck Norris joke to be made about Peter and the pearly gates and how maybe Peter just got out of the way and let Chuck Norris come right in or something like that. I don't know. So rest in peace to veteran Chuck Norris.
When I was a kid at West Point, he came my plebe and yuck year to promote one of his autobiographies, and then he led a couple cadet classes in some workouts. Like he was
that's cool.
Very present at the academy. His wife was gorgeous. I think it's still his, like, I think they were still married. Like she must have been in her 40s or early 50s, but she was like a dime. I remember watching her walk around, seeing her walk around. But yeah, he was.
Oh wow, yeah. I'm looking at pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, total. I mean, rocket. And he was cool. I got to be around him. I think that plebe year trip. And he was in that library promoting his book. He shook every cadet's hand. Like I don't know. He was just such a present dude.
Yeah, 24 years his junior.
Oh. So if he was, so she's in her 60s now. Okay, yeah. So then she was in her 40s.
Yeah, she's 62 now.
Yeah.
But even at 86, he was one of those guys that kind of looked much younger. And
he was still working out, posting his Strava.
I was gonna say he's posting shit to Strava. Yeah, just another example of why you should stay in shape. It'll help you stay young, feel young, look young. So, R.I.P. Chuck Norris. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to chat and bring up was this comment that President Trump made that I don't know how you want to characterize it. I thought it was quick though. I mean, I thought it was quick. He has the Japanese prime minister in the White House in the Oval Office. And he's conducting an interview with the journalists, and there's a Japanese journalist who asks him, hey, why didn't you tell any of your allies, specifically Japan, that you were going to go in and start to attack Iran? And he said, sometimes you want to keep things, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, close to the vest. You don't want to alert and potentially give away what you're about to do. And then he was like, who knows better about surprises than Japan? He's like, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? The visible discomfort the prime minister exhibited in that moment was hard to watch. But, only he could think of something like that.
You said you were like, were you offended by that? I'm curious.
Oh, I wasn't offended by it. No.
Oh.
No.
I mean, first of all, I think that reporter, that was a stupid question. They say there are no stupid questions. Like, why would you ask that question?
It's almost like they wanted the president, they wanted Donald Trump to say that. It was like one of those,
That's the least surprising thing he's ever like. I think we all could have called that he would have said that. I don't know. I was like, it's very Trump.
It is very Trump. But it's all, like I think. But what's crazy and what makes it so Trump is that I think in the moment a lot of people might come to that conclusion. Like, wait, the guy from Japan is asking me about surprises,
right?
But they have enough decorum to not make that comment where he just doesn't care, clearly. And he's like, he says it. He says the thing that you're not supposed to say out loud, as he seemingly always does. And that's what we got.
Surprised. Do you guys think, like, 20 years ago, like, without social media, do you think Bush or President Clinton would have, like, said some stuff like that? Like, maybe, I don't know. Like, if they were asked that question 20, 30 years ago, I feel like maybe Clinton or Bush would have said that too, with a layup like that. And it wouldn't have been.
I mean, President Bush has some of the best one-liners.
He's got some bold takes too, man.
Like, ever. Yeah. If you go back, ever. So.
Yeah, you just don't think about them as much because they weren't plastered all over social media.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
They weren't posting. You didn't see the Bush administration post "fuck around and find out" when we went into Iraq.
No. And I mean, I feel like President Clinton, outside of the press conferences covering the Lewinsky trial, I feel like I can't remember a single thing he said that might have been compared to what Trump said about Pearl Harbor. Then obviously Bush had the, watch me hit this drive quote. But no, I just don't think they have as many. Because again, I think it takes a level of not caring what people think to say something like that. President Trump clearly does not care because he had no problem making that joke.
No, he doesn't.
And people would argue that's not funny. You make that argument either way, but yeah, most people just wouldn't say that with the Prime Minister of Japan sitting 18 inches away. Because most people would say, if they said that, they would feel really embarrassed. He just doesn't.
It's just another day.
Yeah. Any caveats? Anything we missed?
No,
I have two. Go ahead.
Go.
Well, I sent a text with someone who's spent some time, significant time on submarines. Could you go for a run on a submarine? LOL, if there's a treadmill. And I said, like, you couldn't run around on it? Oh, no, not at all. So,
that makes sense. Isn't it just straight down?
I think.
I don't know. Like, it just.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's. But
I believe that. I believe that.
Says on a treadmill.
Well, you know what? For the sake of a movie, it doesn't look as good if Denzel's running on a treadmill, so he's got to be running through the decks.
Yeah,
dude, and I need to rewatch that movie.
It fit in the movie too because then he's able to get to the fire in the galley. Great movie. Him and Gene Hackman just trading blows, and that was early on. Denzel was, not the Denzel we know now. That was 95, so he had done Glory at that point. Actually, he had done Philadelphia.
Okay.
But he was still up and coming. But for him to trade blows the way he did.
He did a great Malcolm X too.
And Sands.
Yeah, we should have Sands.
Yeah. I thought he was surface. But anyway, Sands, our producer, said he did a year in submarine school. You cannot run on a fast attack, maybe on a bigger one. Okay. I need somebody just tell me, Denzel in Crimson Tide, is that real? So. All right, I got two really quickly. The White House released another video that made me absolutely sick to my stomach.
Wait, which one?
It was Navy getting the Commander-in-Chief's
Yeah,
trophy.
I knew you were going to say it.
That was a great video. That was the best piece of content they put out this entire.
And then the Navy guys had to form up, too, like a fucking play in the Oval, right? You see that?
Gross.
But we got Army Navy on lock, right? Like that game's not moving.
Oh, yeah. President Trump signed that executive order that says
that's kind of cool.
The game will be in a standalone time slot. So that's the big distinction. you can
Yeah,
have
it's
games
not
on
the
that
day.
day, whether
It's
it's
not in that
noon
time
or the
slot.
7 o'clock time slot, but just not in that 3 o'clock time slot. Which,
I think that's respectable.
right? I think ultimately that was gonna have to happen because you just don't have
Yeah.
enough weekends if you're adding or moving the college football playoff. It was impossible to keep it as a standalone day, and I actually kind of like it because, and we talked about this, like the idea that there's other football on that day, and you still get the reverence for the Army Navy game in the standalone slot. It's still the only game on at that time slot, so it's still going to get the same amount of viewers, if not more.
I think
So,
it'd be cool if
I'm
there
okay
was the
with it.
game after, because then like when we're all at the bar cons, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
7
we talked
p.m. by
about
the
that
time
for
the
sure.
game you're out of the stadium, and then you can watch another game at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern. I don't know. It's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
you're all jacked
Yeah.
up. You want to keep watching football for
Yeah.
sure.
I like it. Well, you
Um,
won't be watching football. You'll be back at home crying in your bed.
Okay, tough guy. Relax.
Crying in your bed.
Crying in your bed. You'll be crying in your bed. Okay. Last thing I saw that really was interesting to me. The 82nd Airborne is going to deploy to the Middle East because but it was part of a scheduled rotation, a scheduled deployment. And I was looking at the other units that are all scheduled to deploy, and they're all deploying to places in Europe. And this is just such a foreign thing to me because when I was in the Army, all the deployments,
Right.
basically everybody's deployment was to Iraq or Afghanistan. There was no, you're deploying to Germany or you're deploying to Italy. If you weren't stationed in one of those places, you weren't going there. And how great is that if you get a deployment to Europe? Because I have to imagine you get time to yourself and you're in Europe.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. I mean, look at
that's
the general
awesome.
who lost
Oh,
his
yeah.
the maps. Like he was getting too fucked
Oh,
up,
yeah.
drinking too hard, and I lost these maps.
Yeah.
All my buddies and friends who have done Estonia reps, Poland, Romania, you get time off. They've definitely clamped down a little bit on some of the time off and how often you get it, but you do, especially when you're with the partner forces, dude. The Eastern Europeans drink, bro.
Yeah.
European armies booze it up. It's part of Monday, Tuesday. Like,
Well, and the other
does
thing
it.
is, depending on where you are, you get a lot of places on a train pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If I get a 4-day weekend,
A lot.
you can definitely get yourself to some other countries and really take in the country. But I think that's a great thing, especially for younger soldiers to get that culture and see what life is like outside of America. I think that's so important.
100% agree.
So I was just kind of like, oh, wait a second. When you're not at war in two different places, you probably get to deploy to some more interesting places and go places on the weekend and get time off.
Become a better soldier. I mean, you learn these awesome, not to sound super brutal and hood right now, but dude, you're learning awesome tactics, procedures from the Estonians, the Germans.
Right. It's not a vacation. By no means is it a
know.
vacation. And I don't want it to seem like that. But like, I just think when I was deployed, I didn't get time off on the weekends in terms of like, oh, I could go somewhere. I was, I might not be out on a mission, but, and get a little extra time to myself, but I wasn't going on a pass to go to Paris. So I just thought that was cool. And it just never occurred to me to think that that's what our military does when you're not at war in two different places. So hopefully everything with Iran calms down and ceases soon. But
Beat Navy.
we'll wait and see. Beat Navy. All right, that's all we got. Take care. Make it a great week.